Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 178. When we last left our heroes, the gang decided to take Holy up on her offer for a meeting, to propose some kind of potential alliance. Shiki is a little bit on the fence about it, but basically, what we learned from Holy is that Ziggy has allied himself with another member of the Galactica Dead End Crow, who is also an android, and was involved in some kind of mass murder incident some time ago. We don't have a lot of info on that, but a friend of Holy's was killed in that. And so she wants to ally with Shiki to take down both Ziggy and Dead End. We also learned that the Interstellar are allowed to form alliances with Galactica to take down other Galactica. So that's an interesting little tidbit. But anyway, Shiki's rightfully skeptical, so the gang leaves to kind of mull over Holy's offer. Meanwhile, we check in on the Creep Boys from the previous chapter, who start to talk about drugging and kidnapping Rebecca, because, them. And they immediately turn into sludge, seemingly as a result of Holy's power. And then, right after that, Labilia approaches Rebecca and says she has something to talk to Rebecca about before she dies. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe she's impacted by the same thing that the creeps were. I don't really know. But yeah, let's dive right on into chapter 178, Rebecca and Labilia. And we've got this cover page here. As Labilia says to Rebecca, "May I speak with you alone, Rebecca?" And it seemingly, at first I thought this was going to be like a short little previously sort of thing where we see last chapter's cliffhanger again. But no, we're moving forward in time here. "May I speak with you alone, Rebecca?" And we see Labilia is like clearly uncomfortable. And Happy looks up at Rebecca. "Rebecca? It's okay." Then we have this 2-page cover spread of Shiki in his like captain's outfit. And I'm not gonna lie, Shiki's kind of hot here. He's kind of attractive there. Not gonna lie, I'm into it. But yeah, it's just sort of there as we move on. And we cut back to Rebecca and Labilia have gone somewhere. That little what the fuck Shiki aside. We come back to Rebecca. So what do you need to say to me? And what's this about you dying? And Labilia just tells her, when a beekeeper says they're going to die, they mean they're going to retire, obviously. That was not obvious, Labilia. She's so dramatic. That's so dramatic. That can't be a normal thing. I refuse to believe that's a normal thing. Okay. Like, guys, if I ever reach the point where I'm thinking about, stopping the channel for whatever reason, and I say, guys, I'm going to die. Stop me. Roast me alive. I deserve it. But anyway, moving on. Labilia, when a beekeeper says they're going to die, they mean they're going to retire, obviously. Rebecca looks at her confused. "Surely you've noticed that my channel isn't as influential as it once was." Rebecca's almost sad now. Which, again, I find the relationship kind of interesting. Given that, as I recall, unless I'm mistaken, I'm going to see if I can do a quick little Google search here. Because as I recall, Rebecca and Labilia were friends at one point, right? Yeah, at one point in the past, Labilia was friends with Rebecca. However, due to unknown reasons, the girl, yada, 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 we know all that part. And so there's definitely a sort of, like, nuanced reaction Rebecca has. Like, this was her friend at one point, who's clearly heartbroken and sort of feels she has to leave her longtime dream. But also, like, Labilia's been an ass to her for so long. Anyway, Rebecca asks, "But it's not so bad that you have to retire, is it?" And Labilia tells her, "Yes, it is. To me, stagnation is as good as death. So I want to settle things before I die. With you." And Rebecca's just confused. "Settle things? there was never really anything for us to... I mean, I still have nowhere near the number of subscribers you do. And Labilia goes on, but we have had our feud, haven't we? Maybe in the past, but... and Labilia just sort of almost, like, tries to bring back that mocking energy from before. But she kind of fails to. It sort of feels a little half-assed here. Oh, please. Like you're above all that just because you've gained a few more subscribers. Have you forgotten all the things I've done to you? And we have quite the flashback here, specifically of Rebecca getting slimed on Sun Jewel. I think some of this is... I think that's the first time we saw Labilia at Blue Garden in the top left. The rest of it, I'm not quite sure what individual moments all of those are. But we do see the slime from another angle in one of those segments. But yeah, a lot of grief over the years. As Rebecca says, well, you did give me a lot of grief. And Labilia pulls out her B-Cube, I think? Yes. Now send that rage back at me. The camera's rolling. My dear Rebecca. And she swings at Rebecca. Rebecca, like, dodges out of the way. Okay. Just a fist fight here. Whoa! By subtle things, you mean a fist fight? And Labilia is going in for another attack. A cat fight between bikini-clad babes. What could be more photogenic? And Rebecca's just like, where do you keep coming up with these things? As she continues to, like, back up away from Labilia. And Labilia, there's some discomfort to that facial expression, I think. She looks a little like, yeah, this is kind of cringe. Never mind. Now would you kindly fight back, please? I don't want this to turn into a bully video. And Rebecca sighs and thinks, I've done a lot of training in martial arts and ether gear fighting over the last 3 years. An average girl is going to stand a chance against me. But, well, I guess I can play along with Labilia's idea for a little while. And she, like, readies a punch. I'll throw a few fake punches to please the audience. Then I'll lose. That's not what Labilia wants here. She throws this wimpy little punch that Labilia just, like, easily dodges. What is that? Do you call that a punch? And Rebecca's shocked at how easily Labilia dodged that. And Labilia just, like... Okay, so the panel here is Labilia's fist here. But we have these speed lines. Either implying that Labilia just punches her and we don't get to see the aftermath, or Labilia punches and comes right back to where she was. Either way, Rebecca gets a good hit in the face for her efforts. Shocked at Labilia being much more powerful than she thought she was. And then Labilia comes on with a kick, throwing Rebecca to the side. Rebecca, like, hits the ground, picks herself up, sort of shocked. Her, like, nose starting to bleed from the impact. What just happened? And Labilia, that's a bit more of a I'm having fun bullying you face there. You see, I never went public with this because it doesn't match my influencer persona. But I'm an expert in the dancing Sakura style of karate. Okay, that's a fun thing. And Rebecca sort of puts her hands up. For real? Okay, you got me. I surrender. And Labilia's not having that. She goes right back into the attack again. Surely you must be dreaming this, Rebecca. And she's got this, like, whole pose with her. This fight isn't over until one of us can no longer move. And Rebecca tries to, like, tap out. Come on, Labilia. I give up. You win, so just stop. And Labilia, I feel at this point, is just trying to get a rise out of her. Once I've beaten you, I'll find your friend Hoppy and do the same thing to him. And that does get a rise out of Rebecca. As Rebecca rises, knocking Labilia off of her. You need to give it a rest, Labilia. If you lay a finger on Happy, I will make you pay. And Labilia just grins. That's the spirit. My dear Rebecca. And they just go at it now. Rebecca throws a punch. Labilia responds in kind. The two of them grapple each other, like heads press up against each other. And Labilia now, like, tearing at Rebecca's bikini top. As Rebecca says, seriously, all you ever do is pick on me and my friends. And Labilia slams her into the ground. Because it's so much fun. I just can't help myself. And Rebecca, this does sort of feel like what Labilia wants. Is Rebecca just airing all of her grievances? In a weird kind of helping her friend in a roundabout apologetic sort of way, maybe? You made me a laughingstock for your entire career. And Labilia just sort of eggs her on. A bottom-tier B-cuber should consider herself lucky to be singled out by such a big star. And Rebecca kicks her in turn. By scum who can only score views by insulting people? Labilia picks herself back up. I give the public what they want. Maybe you should stop faking nice. And Rebecca tells her, have you ever once considered... words. I am barely able to get these words out tonight. Have you ever once considered people's feelings? You mock them for your own entertainment. Do you have any idea how humiliating, how painful, how sad it is to have those horrible experiences put on video and displayed for the whole world? And with that, Rebecca is now completely on top of Labilia. They're like faces inches from each other. If this was framed differently, it could be somewhat homoerotic here, but it's really not. As Rebecca just yells, "What did I ever do to you?" And then there's a silence. As Labilia starts to tremble, before answering, "I'll tell you what you did. You started all this." And she sniffles. "Seeing your video is what made me want to be a B-cuber." Okay. There's a lot of their... I feel like it's time we have to get the Rebecca Labilia backstory. Especially because the chapter's title is Rebecca and Labilia. But this, without context, makes no sense. I'm curious what's going on, though. And Rebecca's just stunned. What? Wah! She's like just weeping. "I've always wanted to tell you that. Wah! Wait, Labilia?" But they sort of calm down. Okay. So, if she was a Rebecca fan, like, why spend all that time attacking her? It's like an extreme degree of tsundere, I guess. Anyway, sometime later, they pick themselves up, and they're just sort of sitting in the grass. And Labilia tells Rebecca, "I was sick when I was a little girl. I spent a lot of time lying in a hospital bed. One day I happened to turn on a B-cube and see you in a video. Honestly, there was really nothing to like about the video." Sorry, for some reason I keep trying to rush through words today. "There was really nothing to like about the video, and the number of views was in the single digits. It made me think, why is she even doing this?" And we see it is like, Rebecca was already... She can't be older than like 10 in that video. It's definitely, I think, post-Android happy. But they're still, like, clearly really young. And Labilia just watches, like, shining eyes. But, well, seeing this girl, the same age as me, trying so hard, it stole my heart. And I realized I wanted to be like her. I was lucky. Even I was surprised at how successful I was as a B-cuber. I was trying to be like you, but suddenly I was miles ahead of you." And Rebecca, we see listening to all this, kind of just shocked, I think. And also, Labilia just sort of throw in a little insult there. Anyway, and this is where I start to be a bad person. "All that time, I had been expecting you to live up to my ideals. You were my inspiration. So why were you so bottom tier? Why couldn't you make good videos? How could you wear that silly smile when no one even likes you? Before long, those feelings of admiration and irritation came together in the worst way. I couldn't bring myself to open up to you, and before I knew it, this was us." Okay. So I kind of like this. In part. Like the idea that, like, Rebecca was the sort of weirdly inspirational figure for Labilia. Not because she was any good, but because she was having so much fun as a beekeeper. And then when Labilia became so much more popular and made better videos than Rebecca, the feeling of, you should be better than this, you're my star, and also you kind of suck, and why aren't you as good as I want you to be, sort of contorted itself into something terrible. I do like. It's just that bit of, let me go find the quote on the wiki again. At one point in the past, Labilia was friends with Rebecca. However, due to unknown reasons, yada yada yada, I don't know where that fits into the story. Because the way Labilia frames it here, it's, I idolized you, and then I got better than you, and so I started to look down on you. I'm not sure when this supposed friendship fits into that timeline. I don't know. But ignoring that, there's some interesting character writing here for a character who's largely not gotten much in the way of character writing. Labilia's largely just sort of been 2-bit bully this whole time. And so I'm happy for her to have some characterization here. Anyway, Rebecca sort of takes all this in. And Labilia says, I told you I wanted to talk, remember? I wanted to let you get it all out. Let you hit me as much as I deserved. And then apologize. It was my own way of absolving myself. But of course, I don't really think I've earned your forgiveness. And Rebecca just sort of teases her. Wow, you really don't know how to open up? You really don't know how to open up. And Labilia sort of acknowledges, that's why we ended up like this. And Rebecca just thinks, I don't believe it. My video is what inspired you? Your cat impersonation video. And the reminder just sort of makes Rebecca kind of blush. And Rebecca tells her, I'm sorry too. I'm sorry I couldn't live up to your expectations. And Labilia shakes her head. Oh no, you're fine. I wasn't being fair. And Rebecca turns to her. So you were sick as a kid? But you're okay now, right? And Labilia sort of hangs her head before answering, it's incurable. I don't have much time left. Oh, so she is dying. She wasn't just being a drama queen. She's dying. Okay. And Rebecca's just stunned. Completely. Even more than anything else Labilia said here. But Labilia picked herself up. But I'm glad I got to see you one last time. Because now I have no more regrets. And Rebecca just stutters out. And Labilia cuts her off. Thank you, my dear Rebecca. I'm sorry for everything. And Rebecca calls to her, wait, you can see sister. She's on my ship, the best doctor there is. And Labilia stops her. I appreciate the offer, but I made peace with it long ago. And Rebecca tells her, you can't give up. I've seen all the best doctors in the cosmoses. None of them could find a cure. That doesn't matter. Sister might be able to heal you. And Labilia is just, starting to tear up. I don't want to get my hopes up anymore. And Rebecca's also crying now, but I do. And that's just stunned Labilia. I think that even after all of this, Rebecca still wants her to live. Which, it makes sense given, what Labilia did was bad, but it wasn't like you should die bad. It was like you should try to be a better person bad. But I also think maybe part of it is Labilia and Rebecca are kind of in two different genres now. Labilia is sort of not quite a high school slice of life drama, but a much more mundane story is what Labilia is from. Whereas Rebecca's in this high octane life or death space opera. And so it's, I think, easier for Rebecca to forgive Labilia with everything Rebecca's gone through outside of Labilia than it is for Labilia to expect that forgiveness in turn. Anyway, Rebecca runs to her. Please, let me take you to sister. And she hugs her from behind. We've only just taken the first step. I want to walk together as friends. And with that, the tears fall on Labilia. Friends? And then we leave them there to cut back to the Eden Zero, who has apparently been repaired, just sort of floating in the Kaide cosmos. And we cut to Shiki. This is Shiki on the Demon King battleship Eden Zero. And he's calling Holy, of course. And this is Holy on the Interstellar Union Army's battleship Midnight. There we go. Once again, the Interstellar all have Fairy Tale Erasion Sace as their ships. Holy has Midnight. We know Feather has the Racer class ships. Who has Hot Eye? I know someone had Hot Eye. Might have been Jaguar. But yeah, anyway, Holy has Midnight. Anyway, Holy asks, so, have you made up your mind about my offer? Yeah. We've decided we will join you, but on one condition. Until our battle on Lendard is over, you will stay aboard the Eden Zero. Okay. Alright. Interesting. I know why Shiki would want this, right? Keep the potential backstabber in sight so that, keep your friends close, your potential enemies closer, and that sort of thing. But also, I want to think back to what we saw from Holy last week. The whole thing with, until you give me your answer to my offer, Shiki, I will use your power myself. Maybe she can steal his power? I don't know. I'm not so sure bringing her on board is the best idea. But anyway, Holy thinks they want me under watch. Which is, pretty simple. And Shiki just tells her, if you can't do that, the deal's off. We'll beat Ziggy, but we won't have anything to do with Crow. And Holy tells him, I accept your terms. I look forward to working with you, great Demon King. So yeah, let's look at this chapter. I'm going to talk about the last scene first, just because it's real short, real simple. Largely just sort of base plot progression. Shiki decides to accept Holy's terms, but Holy will be on board the ship. Holy accepts that, and she still is super suspicious because Holy is just a suspicious character here. The real heart of the chapter is, of course, the Labilia stuff. And yeah, I do kind of like it. Even if it does end up feeling like Mashima is just completely cutting out the whole they used to be friends from the backstory. Because I feel like if Mashima was going to keep that in, if he wasn't retconning that, then Rebecca might have said something, Rebecca's final, reconciliation moment would have been let's go back to being friends, instead of this, I want to walk together as friends. I don't know. It feels like that part of their backstory is sort of gone. And I can accept that. It was mentioned once in chapter 3, I think. So if Mashima wants to scrub that clean, so be it. But it's nice. It's a complicated emotional state here. And it's good. It's good. It just feels like a tense conversation. One where Labilia has to fully accept that she's kind of in the wrong. Fully and completely, everything she did, she fucked up in terms of Rebecca. That they could have been friends, but this whole... I like what she says on 15 about those feelings of admiration and irritation combined came together in the worst way. It's a whole emotional mixture that just created the worst possible result of just being a constant asshole to her. And I don't know. I like her coming clean with that. I like her acknowledging that was bad. And Rebecca's whole... But that doesn't, And I also again, the Rebecca doesn't think she should just give up and die. If sister can save her, let sister save her. Don't just give up. And I understand Labilia's shock, like I said, that Rebecca would care for her so much. Because in Labilia's mind, Labilia has not been dealing with the kind of shonen action shit Rebecca has. And so this bullying is maybe the worst thing Labilia could possibly imagine anyone doing to Rebecca, unaware of everything Rebecca has gone through over the past 3 years. And So yeah, it's sort of nice to see. Like, I like Labilia's shock, but it also feels very real. That this is not, at this point of Rebecca's life, what Labilia has done to her is not the worst thing in the world. It feels real. It feels like the right answer to how both of these characters would react given everything we know about them. And it's just good shit. It's some strong character writing from Majima this week. Especially nice given that it's a character who he's never really tried to give 3 dimensions to at all in like the 3 years this story has been going on. So yeah, just some good shit here. And then we have this last little teaser of Holy temporarily joining the crew. I will say one thing. I'm curious if Labilia will end up joining the crew. If she'll, meet with Sister will save her, and then much like someone like Couchpo, she'll just kind of never leave. I doubt she will reach as great as Couchpo is, because Couchpo, we stand Couchpo, she's an icon. But I can kind of see Labilia becoming a member of the crew now. I'm curious if Majima will go that route. I could also see him not doing it. But anyway, yeah, Holy's going to be on board as everyone goes to Lendard for the big conflict that's soon to erupt there. So good shit there. Good shit with the character writing. Good shit with the sort of build up to what's coming next. All in all, good fucking chapter this week. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!